Drawing. Artists do it. We all have our own processes for it. Over time, that process also changes as you grow as an artist. Digital art is still quite a new medium for me, so I thought it would be fun to walk you through my current process of creating art, from start to finish. I actually learned quite a lot from making this piece specifically, so I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Step 1 is always scrolling through Pinterest for inspiration. Whenever I get the itch to draw but I don't know what to do, this is always a good way to get my juices flowing. Do I sometimes end up scrolling for hours and getting nothing done? No. Once I find my inspiration, I start step 2, sketching. This is probably my favorite part of the process. I love being able to be messy and not worry about imperfections. The looseness of sketching really helps me warm up too. Sometimes I spend way too long on my sketch because I enjoy it so much though. I've been using the tool of flipping my canvas to see any mistakes that I've made through the process. As someone who is primarily a traditional artist for the majority of my art journey, there's a lot of tools that I'm still not used to with digital art. I am enjoying finding ways of incorporating them into my art. Step 3. Line art. Until recently, I hated doing line art. It was the part of the process that I absolutely dreaded. That was until I realized I am free. And I can make my line art as messy as I like. There's no rules with art. I'm still trying to find my line art style, but I've been letting myself do whatever I feel like when drawing it. Which for some reason I wasn't doing before. You can do that. Just a reminder, just a little heads up, you can do that. I've also really been enjoying messing with the line width on line art, like having certain bits a lot thicker than others. I don't have a rhyme or reason to why certain bits are thicker than others. I just like how it looks, to be honest. I've realized as well that I really like putting hatching in my line art too. I like that it adds texture to the hair and also some blush on the cheeks. I think it can also look really good in darker parts of the drawing, like under the neck where a shadow would be. It's just been fun experimenting with it. Step 4. Flat colors. Because my line art isn't all connected, I usually do a little run around of the piece with a bright color. Once done, I fill that and then go around and do the flats for each layer. I did have a reference to try and match the colors as best as I could. I don't usually color pick when I'm doing fan art because I want to learn how to do colors effectively myself. It's only recently that I've actually started learning color theory properly. Next is step 5, shading. I am silly, because I just shade wherever I want without thinking of the light source. Don't do that. I regret doing this later in the piece because I forgot all about the background. When shading, I tend to make them slightly darker and cooler than the base color. I've been doing this more recently instead of doing my old default of a purplish grey and then using it with the multiply tool. This isn't a bad way to do shading, by any means. I've just been trying to make my art look more vibrant and also teach myself how to use colors better. I decided in this piece specifically to try out the blending tool. I definitely overused it looking at the piece now. After making this, I think I understand I need to learn how to use it more properly, because it can just muddy up the art if I overuse it. Before we continue, I am here to tell you about my Patreon. I have 3 tiers over there at the moment, and here's all the prices. I have a schedule where I post art 3 times a week over there, and I also have a weekly podcast that comes out every Sunday. Also, if you are subscribed to my Patreon, your name will be up at the end of my videos. If you're interested in supporting me over there, go check it out. The link is in my description. Step 6 is the shine. I do a similar technique that I do with the shading, except I make it slightly lighter and warmer. Obviously, it depends on the color of the lighting and the shadows in your piece with what temperature you use. I also blended this one quite a bit, which I did get lost with, but I've learned from that now. Step 7 is coloring the line art. I absolutely love doing this. I feel like it makes the piece look more alive. I just pop a clipping mask layer over the top of the line art and color to my heart's content. Depending on the piece, I leave the lines on the outside black, but I was going for more of a softer look with this one. Step 8 is the background. I usually don't do backgrounds and let my characters float in liminal spaces. I had a vision for this one though, and I tried my hand at it. It didn't turn out how I hoped though. I think the simple style of the trees clashes with the style I drew the character in. I also struggled with the contrast in this as well. I kept working on it, swapping around the colors and seeing what would look good. I also tried the technique that I learned when I was back in school, where the farther something is in the background, the lighter and more blue it gets. That didn't really help make the character pop though. Eventually I got to a point that I was somewhat happy with. I would like to revisit this concept of this piece when I get better at doing backgrounds, but here is the finished product. Thank you for watching the video. The original plan for this was just showing my process, but this piece was just a big learning curve for me. I learned a lot through the mistakes that I made, which was nice. I enjoyed making the art and the lessons that I got from it, which was great. Thank you so much to all my lovely Patreons that are scrolling by on screen right now. Again, if you guys want to be in the end of these videos, definitely go check out my Patreon. It is the best way to support me. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye! Go check out the video that is linked as recommended. YouTube thinks you'll like it. Go watch that. Also subscribe! Please subscribe! Please! Thank you for 20k!